7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Hello everyone, this is Danny Lambert with Plush Republic. Today I'm going to be going over how to implement Google Analytics using Google Tag Manager on a WordPress site. So I have just a more general video showing you how to implement GA via Google Tag Manager, but this is going to be specifically geared towards people who are using WordPress CMS. So the things you need before we get started are a WordPress site, a Google Analytics account, and a Google Tag Manager account. So if you don't have those things set up, please go ahead, set those things up, and then come back to the video and continue. So we'll start with the steps that you need to do. You have to set up your Google Analytics account and know where to access your tracking code and your tracking ID. So once you're in Google Analytics, you just come down to admin, you go into your property settings, and you'll need this tracking ID. Something else that I should mention is there are multiple ways to implement this. You could use a plugin like this Google Tag Manager for WordPress plugin. I prefer not to use that. Your site gets a little bit heavier and slower the more plugins that you include, and it's not really necessary. If you follow this video, I can show you how to add it to the source code, keep your site a little bit lighter. But if you don't feel comfortable, go ahead and use a plugin. This certainly works fine, but this is not the route that I advise people to use or the route that I'll be showing. Just wanted to give you that alternative. So I'll go ahead and close that down. Go back to Google Analytics. So now that I have this tracking ID, what I need to do is set this up as a variable in my Google Tag Manager account. So I'll come into Google Tag Manager, you come to variables, and you would create your new one. I already have one here, but I'll essentially show you how you set this up. You go new, name it like GA tracking ID, come down, you go Google Analytics settings, and you paste that tracking ID in right here. So you'd copy it and you'd paste it, you'd leave it to auto, you don't need to do any of that, and you would click save. What that does is it saves that tracking ID, and you're going to use that in the tag that I'll show you in a little bit. So you go ahead and click save. I'm not going to do so because I already have it right here, but I'll open it up and you can see it's set up the exact same way. So the next thing that you're going to want to do is set up a tag. So I'll show you where this one is set up in my in my Google Tag Manager account. It's right here. So what this is doing is it's going to actually create a tag that fires the Google Analytics tracking code on every single page of your site. So as I come in here, it's firing on all page views, and this is where the variable comes into play. Right now I have enable override settings in this tag, and I have the tracking ID dropped in here, but you can also just use that GA tracking ID, right? So that's why I set up as a variable, is I can use it in multiple different tags. So these are your two options. If you don't set up the variable, you just click enable override and you paste it in here. If you do have the variable set up, you can select it here. So I'll show you how I went about actually creating this one. You come in, go new, go to Google Analytics Universal, and you just say Google Analytics Tracking. You select page view, you would select that variable, or if you didn't create that variable, you would do override and you would drop it in here. You don't have to worry about the more settings. I go into that in some other videos, same with advanced settings. I just come down here, once per event works, but for this particular tag, I would select once per page view, and then triggering, you would select all pages. So now what we did is essentially grab that tracking ID from our Google Analytics account, created this tag to fire on every single page view on our website, and just made sure that that's all set up. So you would click save. I won't because I already have it saved here, but at this point you have a tag that's firing on all page views with the Google Analytics tracking ID. The last step is to actually go put this Google Tag Manager code onto your WordPress site, because at this point you wouldn't actually be firing anything. There's no code on your site to actually trigger the page view event. So I'm going to show you where you embed that and how you find that within your Google Tag Manager account. So if you click here, it'll give you these two code snippets here. it says paste this code as high in the head of the page as possible, which is right here, and then additionally paste this code after the immediately after the opening body tag. So now we have to go into our WordPress site and put this into those two places. So you'll be here in your WordPress, you'll probably have some sort of theme already implemented, and then I'll just go click on the little WordPress icon, and from here you want to go to Appearance, and then you want to click on Editor. What you want to find once you're in here is the header. So like just type in header, you have a bunch of options, and the one you want is this theme header, header.php. Go ahead and click that. So in here, you'll see this head tag, or you can just Command F head, and you'll see where that opens, and you'll see where that closes. So what you're supposed to do according to their instructions is paste this as high in the head as possible. So you'd click Command C, or you click this button, you'd copy it, and you'd paste it. I put it right before that closing head tag. You'll notice I have it right here. So then you're good with that. The next one it tells you to do is paste this immediately after the opening body tag. So then you come back in here, and you'll notice in my theme, the body tag is right below it, but if it's not, you just Command F and you search for body, and then you'll see I already have it pasted right here. Those are the only two things that you actually need to put into this theme file before you're ready to go. So you would just scroll down to the bottom after adding those, and you'd click Update File. What's important is if you have ever implemented Google Analytics not through Tag Manager and that code is already in here, you need to be sure that you remove that so that you're not double counting traffic. So right now I have both the snippet in the head, the snippet in the body, and I've updated this file. So now if I go back to my website and I'm back in Google Tag Manager, what you would do is hop into preview mode. So you come into preview, and what this allows you to do is go back to your site and make sure that the tag would be firing on the places that you want it to be, which in this case is on every single page of the website. So you come back to your website and you'll do a refresh, and when you do, you should see the preview pane. So I want to see Google Analytics right here, this tag firing on all page views. So I see that it fired on my home page. Let's go to my About page. I see it firing there. So go view a couple pages, and now that I know in preview that it's firing where it should be, I can go ahead and publish this. So in here you come back and you leave preview mode, click OK. I have no changes to submit because I already have it live, but what you would do at this point is you would go to submit, you would type in a description, say like added GA via GTM, do the same thing here. So you have notes on what changes went live in this push, and you go ahead and hit publish. At that point, those changes that we just made would actually go live. And then the way that you can verify that this has actually worked is when you go into your Google Analytics instance and you go to real time and click overview, you should now be seeing website traffic. So I'm in Austin, Texas. It says there's one active user on the site, which is this window, which is me going in there. So at this point, you have Google Analytics active on your website or your WordPress site implemented via Google Tag Manager. And the steps to do so were to take the tracking ID from Google Analytics and set it up as a variable in Google Tag Manager. From there, you create a new tag, this Google Analytics tag, that fires on all pages of your website and leverages that tracking ID variable that you created. Once you do that, you go into preview mode and confirm you go into your WordPress and you put the snippets in the header section and the body section, and you update that file. And then you go into preview mode to confirm that that is actually firing on the right pages. Once you've done all those things, you come back into Google Tag Manager, you hit submit, and at that point, you should be good to go. You can hop back into your Google Analytics account and confirm that you have some real-time traffic coming in like we did here. So hopefully this was helpful in you understanding how to start using Google Tag Manager and how to implement Google Analytics using Google Tag Manager in your WordPress site. Please let me know in the comments if there's any other content that you would like me to create. And please like and subscribe so you can get all of this new fresh content that's coming out around Google Tag Manager analytics, all the good stuff. So thank you for your time, and I hope this was
Oh, this
helpful.
you
Have a
crazy
good one.
mother.